Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our 15-minute series. Today we're featuring Doris Crandall, and Doris has always been a good friend of the Career Center, helped with several things and events, and today she's here to talk to us about her company. And her company is the State of Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. She's been there for 22 years in several different departments and in several different capacities. She's been in this HR position for the last 5 years. So she is going to talk to us all about what majors she hires for and the different opportunities within their company. Thank you for being here, Doris.
No problem. Good morning. I think it's still morning. Like she said, I'm Doris Crandall. I work with Department of Health and Human Services in the HR office doing recruiting. So my job is to go around and talk to different colleges, do career events, just promote our company. So I do work with State of Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. We are recruiting right now for our services specialist position and also RNs, but you guys don't have RNs, do you, now that I'm backtracking here on myself?
No, we can get something coming in the future, but not yet.
Okay, so the position that we highly recruit for is what we call a services specialist. So that job, it works in our county offices across the entire state of Michigan doing child protective services and foster care. So being as though it's in every county, we do have a lot of those border counties that are very close to you guys. I believe we have an office in Coldwater, which is Hillsdale County, and then I think St. Joe is pretty close to there also. So the brochures that we have the Michigan map that has all those county offices. And we are always looking along the border for those positions as well. The services specialist position is degree specific. So we look for the human services type degrees. So your social work, your sociology, criminal justice, psychology, human services, education. We've now opened it up in education as one of the majors that we accept also. We also have opened it up to be any major as long as you have 15 credit hours, or not 15, I'm sorry, 30 credit hours in those human services type fields. So that's really helped with our recruiting efforts too.
Yeah. So do you have a period of training or how do you guys do that?
Yes, we hire people in there. They alternate. It's 9 weeks of training. So it's 1 week in the office and then the next week in the classroom, back and forth for those 9 weeks. So when you're in the office, you're actually job shadowing a mentor and working with them, kind of attached to the hip with them for a while. And then in the classroom, you're learning the policy and procedure, how to do forensic interviewing, how to fill out court documents, how to testify in court, all of that critical, more book work is what they're doing in the classrooms for that training. They say it takes about a year before you're really, truly comfortable in the job and it can go with your own gut and not second guess yourself on your things.
Yeah.
Never see the same thing twice. I mean, once you think you've seen it all and then something else will come up that it's like, whoa. But our supervisors are very good as far as being mentors. They're always available. So if you're on call and you're going out in the evening and get a call and you're not comfortable, you can call and talk to your supervisor, talk to them. Law enforcement is also willing to come to houses and help with that piece of it too. And I can kind of digress a little bit and talk about the actual specifics of the position too. There's a couple different programs within that services specialist. So we have a CPS investigator. So we have 2 different locations that take all of the incoming calls for abuse and neglect. Once those calls come into those centralized locations, then they're sent out to the counties to do the investigation depending on where the call came from. So that investigator has 30 days to go out and interview and figure out what's going on. So they're talking to doctors, family members, schools, teachers, the kids, the parents, anybody that they need to talk to find out exactly what's going on in the home. And then they make their determination. So if the children are safe in the home, a lot of times, I think probably about 60 to 70% of the cases is false allegations. somebody's got a
Oh,
bone to pick and they've made an allegation. On the ones where something is going on, but it's not severe enough to have those children removed, it would move to an ongoing worker. So they would put some services in place, work with the family, try and get them to where they need to be so that so it doesn't progress any further.
right.
If the kids are not safe, if it's something severe and they have to be removed, then it would be a foster care case. And then foster care would find placement, usually with another family member, if at all possible. And then they deal with the reunification piece. So they're working with the families, getting the services they need, following up, working with visitations, all of that kind of stuff to try and get the kids home if at all possible.
Wow.
So.
Is there a certain amount like of a caseload, or I hear students talking about that sometimes?
Yeah, I believe for the investigative piece, I think it's 15 is what they carry. And they're more of a quick turnaround. You've got 30 days, your case is moved on. And I believe for the ongoing, I think it's 15 cases. And those cases are families. So you would have 15 families at any given time on your caseload. And it is revolving. So as you drop one, you may pick up another one type of deal.
Right.
For foster care, I think it's 11 or 12 is what the case count is. And that is individuals. So if you might have one case with 5 children and then another case with another 6 kids. Those are the only 2 cases you're going to be working on because you've got 11 kids that you're working with.
Oh,
so
I
that's
see.
your caseload. So they try and filter those cases out to keep you under your case count. So if a load comes in and there's 5 kids on that and you've already got 8 kids on your caseload, you're not going to get that next one. Somebody else is going to get that. You may get one with a smaller family.
I see. I see. So interesting. So tell us now, in this crazy life that we're living right now with the pandemic, how has that changed your recruiting, your interviewing? What kind of changes have you guys made?
Well, recruiting, we're doing these now instead of coming
Yes.
in. Normally we would be sitting in a classroom or having a table up in a hallway talking to students. As far as interviewing, we are doing Skype or Zoom interviewing processes. We used to do 2-part interviews where we would have the applicant come in and do a written test just to check writing skills, just because strong writing skills are very important because you are doing a lot of court documentation and all of that kind of stuff. So we would have them come in, do that piece, and then if they pass the written piece, then they would come back in for the face-to-face interview. Now we have started using the written submission that we asked for in the actual application. We have a video that we have them watch and then write a couple paragraphs on some questions that are in there. So we're using that piece now to do the written evaluation. And then, like I said, the interviews are virtual. I think we're doing the training classes virtually also. I haven't been in the office to know exactly what they're doing as far as training. And then as far as work in the county offices, our workers were for the most part mobile. So they didn't have to be in the office unless they were going in for some specific reason. We set them up with iPhones, iPads, laptops, all of that stuff so they can work mobile. And I believe that they have taken volunteers to do the investigations and the visits and stuff, so that not every worker is having to go out and, like, if you were maybe we've got 10 investigators in one county, not all 10 of those are having to do all the investigations. It might be 1 or 2 that have volunteered to do everybody's investigations, and then they're reporting back to the other worker that actually has the case. So that people with small children or maybe, older family members or something living with them don't have to have that contact.
Exposure. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well, super interesting. I know it seems like our human services department continues to grow, especially in our CPS population. And so those would be our non-traditional students, is what they used to call them. There are adult learners, and human services is a huge major for them. So we're so happy to have you as part of our recruitment team, and I love to post your jobs. So we'll let all the students know to keep looking for those, and that you guys are still up and working and hiring and all of those things.
Yeah,
So thank you
unfortunately,
for
the
being here
CPS
today.
piece doesn't slow down.
No, unfortunately, I'm sure it does not. So thanks for being here today, Doris.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yes, and we will do this again soon.
Okay, thank you so much.
All righty, bye-bye.
Bye.